So I've been asked how I get the lights into the pages for the interactive light up book. So I'm going to show you a really quick tutorial of how you do that, how we make them light up inside. So let's bring these in. Now you're going to need a CR2032 battery. Now these LED lights won't work without that battery. You can't use the smaller ones. You're also going to need some white 20 type, well these were 20 in a pack, so some white 3mm little lights, and I'll show you what they look like. Now if you can see, I'll bring these forward, you can see they have two prongs. So you've got your little light on the end and they have two prongs. Always test them as well before you use them. But if you put one of the prongs onto the back and one of the prongs onto the front, that's how you get your light. So let me show you how they're so easy to do as well. So let me show you. What we're going to need to do first is make the cover for the button, and it really is this simple. So we need to make our button. So we're just going to take a scrap piece of card, and what we're going to do is we're going to fold the card over the battery. So the battery sits, if you can just see that, the battery sits in the middle of the card. Now you need to trim it down and to take off all the waste and trim it right down so the battery is sitting in the card. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our, I know they're really small to see, we're going to just open the two prongs. Okay, so we're just pulling open the two prongs first of all. Now we're going to take our glue and we're going to put some glue on the back. Now where I've pressed it in, I don't know if you can see that, if you do press it in, if you do push that in and press it down, you will get a slight impression. I don't know if you can see that, but you might just be able to see that impression. That's where you're going to put your glue. So we're just going to pop some glue in the middle, making sure that we've got quite a bit where your prong is going to go. Now all we're going to do is we're going to pop the back, so this part, the back, onto the card, and we're going to take the long part, you can see the long part, and slide that in between the paper and the battery. And we're just going to stick it down and push it right in. Now that really is going to need a little while to sit and rest, because you really do need that to be stuck down. I'm trying to show you so that, I'm not sure if you can see that. You have to excuse me. This is actually my first talking tutorial. so I don't know if you can see it. I am looking on the screen, but it slides in. So you've got one sitting at the back. You can actually see the impression at the back where the, there we go. You can see that just where it's sitting underneath. Now, like I say, you are going to wait for that to dry. And what you're going to need to do is just push. So you're pulling out the front, just push. So you're going to wait for that to dry, because then it will sit flat and straight. So don't try and push the button. It needs to be stuck down really hard, so that when your top part comes over, let me show you on this one. When your top part comes over, it will look like this. and you can just push it, and that's how you make your button. Now you can use these in different ways. Now with this set that I made, I actually used the, now which set is it from? It is from the Oceana Layering Die Set, and I just actually used this die. Now when it cuts out, it will cut out without the card underneath, so you do have to stick the die cut onto a piece of card and just cut round it, so that is essentially our button for the inside of the card. Now we shall set that aside, the one that we've done, and we'll wait for that one to dry. But while we're waiting for that one to dry, I have obviously already made one up. So that is going to be your button mechanism. The only thing I will say with these is you cannot change the battery. Once you've set the pages up, you are not going to be able to change the batteries on this. So these are really for, you know, gifts. I mean, they look lovely without the lights, but like I say, you cannot change them. Now, because we've had to lift, this is now where the tricky part comes, and this is where you'll need to make sure, if you're going to do one, that you're using the height, because here we have the top part. So let me show you. So I've got one already done where I have stamped and inked and coloured. This is the base, ready to go into our book. Now the top has been made using the other set, because there was two in this set, called Oceana Layering Die. So what I've done is I've actually cut two of these. I don't know if you can see. So I've used one base. I've then used this die to cut into the base. So you use it on its own. So you use this one on its own just to cut into the base, and it does fit as well. See, this is why we're using the memory book. In fact, it's called the Keepsake Insert Creator from Tonic. You have to use this base if you're going to use these dies, because they won't work with the other two Keepsake books that are in the set. It will only work with this. If you wanted to use these with the others, you would have to use them offset. So you do have to use this memory book. So what we've done is we've used that to cut into the base. I have then cut another one of those, obviously using the outer layers of the die set, and put this one on top of it, just to give it a better look and a better finish. Now, with the, excuse me, with the lights, we have to have a high, the sticky, the double-sided foam tape. You have to put 4 layers. You will have to put 4 layers. So we've built those up. I'm not sure if you can see that. We've actually built those up, and there are 4 layers which have gone all the way around. You can see the outsides. So you will need 4 layers of foam on the top for the base. And because you want the button to be slightly smaller, because you obviously don't want the light going off, we've used 3 of the double-sided foam tape. So always go 1 more on the top and 1 less for the buttons. So that's how it works. I'm just going to show you how to pop it together so you can see how it works. Now let's just get some foam tape to pop this on. Now in the club stamp set that I used to create this, I think it's called Whaley Time. Have a Whaley Time. I think so. I'm not sure. I'm just actually looking for the first set. Isn't it unbelievable? Oh, here it is. You get everything sorted and then it all kind of goes wrong. But it is my first tutorial, and I'm sure I'm saying a lot of ums as well. I'm sure it's called A Whaley Good Time. I'm sure, but that's the stamps that I've used. And honestly, it's so versatile. There's so many things in it to use. But, right, so we're going to just put some foam tape on here just to lift the whale before we stick him down. So we're just giving a little bit of dimension. We're just giving a tiny bit of dimension. Now, of course, I will say, you don't have to use a button to cover up the lights. You can actually, I will do another tutorial showing you a different way to use it, where you can actually cover up the lights using your die cuts from your stamp set. So any smaller die cuts are going to work to cover up your lights. So you don't have to make a button, but I thought this was quite good and quite easy way to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to position our button onto your base. Now we do need to check that it's in position, because obviously you've got the foam tape on here, so you don't want to stick it too far in the corner, because if you stick it too far in the corner you're not going to be able to get the top part onto your base. So I always find the easy way to do it is just as I'm doing it now, by just positioning that over just to see if it is in place, and I am actually quite happy with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off the foam tape and we're going to pop that on there just like that, just like so. So we know that that's pretty much in a decent position. So if I show you, sorry, my connection's gone off, so I can't see if I'm showing you correctly now. Funniest tutorial ever. So we've made room for the outsides. Now we're going to take off all the foam tape. And it's definitely lucky that I've prepared this. You know, these books are just, they are really fun to make actually. They are quite fun to make, and Tonic do some really nice stamp sets. Oh, I'm struggling with this one. They do some really great stamp sets. I did one with a fairy actually. I did one with the I Love You Very Much set, and that's a great set to work with. It just goes, it really goes well with the Tonic craft kit number 27. Like it's just, they just marry up so perfectly. I think I did actually post that, but if I didn't, I will try and do one. But the process is exactly the same with the lights. So now you're going to position your top part. I'm going to just position it, and then we're just going to pop it on. Now, your light may come on as you're positioning it down, but don't worry, because it will stop. So there we go. Now you have your light inside and it's completely covered up, so nobody can see the workings of the light inside. Then it's literally just about the decoration, you know, about decorating it. So you can pop a lovely shell. I've done exactly the same as what I did with the other one, only using the marine layering die set shell. And the same process, it cuts out with all this lovely detail. Then all you do is just stick that onto a plain piece of card and just cut round it, and they're just brilliant for embellishing them. So there we have. So that's how it will finish, that's how it will look, and then you will have, this is your finished piece. And again, it will just, honestly, it will work perfectly. So when we're doing the book, which I am going to show you how to set up, and I will also show you what I did with all the other pieces within the book and how to make it up. Yeah, you can either use, well, really, to be honest, with the actual book, I've used the base. I think Louise Sims, she's one of the Tonic designers. She does a fantastic tutorial of how to put together the base, which, if it's okay, I will link that in this video because I've used her tutorial. Now, you do have to remember that because these are quite high, because you're using 4 sets of double-sided foam tape on them, they're quite thick. And within the book, you do have different sizes of sections to use. So in some of the, let me show you. I hope you can see this actually because I can't see because my camera disconnected. But you can see in the book, you have different sizes. So in some of them, they're quite small. So you're not going to obviously be able to put something like that into a small section. So they will definitely take 3 of those, but I will show you what I've used as a smaller, flatter base page to put into your book. So I will be back with the next part to show you how I did the smaller sections of the book. Right, back again. Now I'm going to show you how I put together the pockets. So these are the smaller bits. Now you don't have to do this, but obviously because it's kind of like a children's interactive book, you know, you don't have to do this, but I think it just adds to it. I really do. Now, you will need 6. You will need 6 of these. And it is this die, which is the base pocket die from that set. So 6 of those, and I will just show you how easy it is to put together. In fact, you're also going to be using these, which are they're actually to go over the spine. So in this set, you get a spine die with little tiny holes in it where you can thread ribbon through. But we're going to be using those in a different way to make the bubbles, which is what you can see, which is what I've done, just to make the bubbles. Right, let's go. See, there's so much in this stamp set. There is so much in there. All these little tiny things, and then you get all the die cuts. Oh, I will say as well, this die is brilliant. Now, I've used this die set in another book that I've made, where I'm going to show you how you can use the lights differently. And when you cut this out, you get all these little tiny fish, which I've put, here we go, which I've put into a bottle. And I mean, these are the kind of things you can use for like tags, you know, to go on the side of your book. So don't throw away all those fish. And of course, if you wanted to, you could use them on your pockets, the base pockets, or even in the actual pages of the book. But I used this, and I used one of the circles from this die set. So everything just goes together so well in these sets. But this die set, this middle one, this is one of the circular dies, goes perfectly with this. It cuts the fish die out. So you don't even have to go out and buy other dies. You can just use the ones that you've got. But I just want to show you how quick and easy it is to do the stamping and the colouring. It really is that easy. So let's just we'll make it simple actually. Let's use a smaller one because then we can get more and I can show you more. Now on some of them I have actually cut out the fish, the whales, sorry. I have actually cut those out, masked them and then stamped on top of them. You can do that, but you will have to cut out by hand, because if you don't cut out by hand, you get the ridge around them. But let's just show you how simple and easy it is to make a base. So I'm using my platform because I just am not competent, that's not the word, but it's not for safety. If they don't print out, you know, if you haven't got that strong hand to print them out, it's just easy using the stamping platform, because then you don't end up having to throw something away because you haven't stamped it properly, or sit there and draw all around the pieces that you've missed out. So I do use this quite a bit. Also, in the next video, where I'll show you how to do a book without stamping, without colouring, because I know sometimes it can be really off-putting. And funny enough, I have, you know, had a few people say, you know, they've got the memory book sets and the keeper sets and they just don't know where to start sometimes. And I do have, you know, you don't have to stamp, is what I'm saying. You can use these books and let the dies do the work. But I will show you that one that I've done, just for people that, you know, maybe they're a bit, you know, don't know where to start. And definitely I would say that these Keepsake books are the best place to start. If you've never made a memory book, they are definitely the best place to start, because they're nice and small. You're not going to waste loads of paper. If you're worried about wasting paper, they really are. And especially the, you know, the mermaid, the marina, and what's it called, an Oceana sets. They are, I can't tell you, I know I've said it, but they really are so versatile, you know. And I don't know if you're like me, but I've been collecting Tonic dies, since they first started. And well, maybe not since they first started, but certainly I can remember my first purchase being the fairy dies. They were my first purchase, and I've just been collecting them ever since. And honestly, I just think Tonic, I mean, I'm not, this is not sort of an advertisement, I'm just a crafter, you know, I just love crafting, I do it for enjoyment. But Tonic really do some fantastic sets. They're not overly expensive, and the thing is, you can use them for other projects, so you don't have to, you know, it's not like one die set and you think, oh, I'm only going to be able to use it for this. They're so versatile, they really, really do work with each other. Right, let's show you how easy this is to do. So I'm using the Nouveau markers, 413 and 415. So what we're going to do, these are their alcohol blenders. They're brilliant. I love the alcohol blenders because you don't really need to be really clever at colouring. They really do all the work for you. And I'm not the best colourist. I'll be honest with you, I'm not even, stamping is not really my forte at all. But I've really wanted to try and improve my stamping by learning more techniques and, you know, doing more things. And I think especially with things like this, they really do help you, like these alcohol markers, because you know, I wouldn't be able to do this. I couldn't sit and do this with normal pens, you know, they just blend so easily. And like I say, you don't have to really do too much work. So now we're going in with 415, and I'm just going to go down the edges of the I don't actually know what that is. I mean, obviously they're kind of sea plants, aren't they? But I'm not even really, you know, concentrating too much or worrying too much about what I'm doing. I'm literally just going down the sides and sticking to one side where I think the shadows are going to be. I think the key to it is just sticking to one side. And like I say, I'm not a colourist. And obviously you do have to do quite a few of these, because obviously you've got to do 6 of these. Let's just go in. So I haven't really spent too much, but you know, if you really wanted to make them stand out, I think what you can do, and I'm sure I've done this in the past with other things, is you can use your alcohol markers and then you can use your pencils. Now, I don't have the Tonic, I have the watercolour pencils, but I haven't tried the, you know, the normal colouring pencils, which I think they've actually brought out some new ones. But I think you can use them to colour on top of the alcohol markers, and they will just bring out. I'm going in now with 487. I think these are the greys. Or was I? Yes, I think you can use them. And if you use these pencils to colour on top, it's going to make it much more vibrant. But obviously it depends how much, you know, time you want to spend on them. You can do this quickly. This is why I wanted to kind of show you this, how quickly it is to do. So I know sometimes you can look at something and think, oh my gosh, how long did that take? But this really doesn't take that long, you know. And you don't have to, I mean, you can see I'm not doing anything. You know, I'm just literally going in there and colouring, and it will blend out. So that was 487, which I'm sure are the greys. They are Stormy Greys. So now I'm going to go in with a little bit more of a blue. And this is, I think these are marine blues, 427. I'm just going to come in here. Just give it a little bit of blue, and then we're going to darken it up. But we're not going to we're not going to worry too much. But we'll just darken it up a little bit. You can hear the bed squeaking next door. That's my son who's still in bed. I don't know if you have children and they're anything like my son, but they never get up really on a Saturday until the afternoon. So I'm just gonna, you can see I'm really not doing anything, but these are all going to blend in anyway. So we're going to come back in with the 487, and we're just going to blend that round. Now this is what I do. I just go around the edges and just blend it in. That's as I do it. And just blend them in. And it will look, sometimes they do look a bit funny when you first do them, when you blend them, but it will absorb. And where you're seeing all these lines, you won't see those. I'm just going to go in now with 489, just to give some texture to it. So we're just going to put a couple of dots there like that. Right, so that is literally how quick it is to stamp and colour those over in a heartbeat. Now, I do have, I will be using, this is actually not Tonic Momentum, but I will be using, and I love this colour. Whoops, Daisy. I love this colour. It's the Nuvo Empire Blue. I love this. I have used that so much. Right, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is. So you don't have to, oh, he's up. So you don't have to sit there for hours or mask anything off. Now, I want it quite patchy because obviously this is kind of like an under the sea look. So I want this really patchy. I want it patchy and blobby, but you'll see you can go over the colours, and if anything, I think it adds, just going over with the ink just adds to it. So you don't have to worry. It's not going to, you know, as long as you're not using a really dark colour, it's not going to affect your colouring that you've just used with the markers. I mean, I've learnt this as I've gone along, to be honest with you, because like I say, I'm not a stamper by any means. I much prefer using the die cuts. If you're anything like me, you know, I love making memory books, I really do, but I just wanted to take, excuse me, my memory books kind of, you know, to the next level and start seeing if I could work with lights and, you know, just start seeing if I could work with lights and kind of make things a bit more interactive. Because the next one actually that I'm working on is an interactive light up book, but for a newborn baby, with spaces for photographs in. Right, now for our bubbles, I've already cut out, let's pop these on here. I actually did this the wrong way. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to be totally honest. I actually did this the wrong way, silly me. What you're supposed to do is, before you ink, you are supposed to pop these on. But listen, we'll work with it. we'll work with it. It's fine. So we're just going to take our adhesive, and don't use too much because you really don't want to get too much glue. Really try not to get extra glue over it because the ink will not, it just will not go over it, and then you're going to get patches where your glue is. So it is quite important not to get glue on the page as you're going. But again, this is just using these in a different way, and rather than having, I mean, especially if you're like me, I mean, I'm really not very good at drawing either. I'm not painting myself in a very good light at the moment. But yes, I'm not the best, let's put it that way. I mean, I can do bits, but I'm not the best at drawing. So and listen, if you've got these in your, you know, if you've got these extra things in here that you can use instead of having to buy something else, and if you can't draw, use them. You know, you don't have to use these. Like I say, these were for the they go over the little holes on the spines from this kit, and I just thought, oh, that look really good for bubbles. So we're just going to carry on anyway, popping these on just kind of sporadically over it. There's no real thought going in this apart from how you would think bubbles would go. Now for the little ones, all you're going to do is just pop tiny bits. Really try not to put too much on. I mean, it's not too bad now actually because I've already cut it. So maybe in hindsight, this is actually a better way of doing it rather than putting them on first and then colouring over, because at least you're not going to have any patches in your, when you've used your ink to ink it up. So actually, in hindsight, this is a much better way. So hey ho, happy crafter's mistake. I mean, how many times I can honestly say that I've made mistakes and actually they've turned out to be better than the way I was doing it originally. So this is another good one. Right, let's just pop these on. We've only got 3 more here, so let's see if we can find 3. Now, I'm not going to be able to colour over them because you do obviously have to wait for them to dry, but you get the principle of it. You do get the principle of it. So wait for that to dry, wait for them to set in, and all you're going to do, we'll have to go back over it again. So just like I did before with the dye, with the ink, we're just going to go over it, and you will just colour those, and they will come in, you know, they will colour, and you will get, like I say, there we go, you get the darker, you see where I've gone in, so you get the principle of that. I also, just to tell you that in the holes, just to give it a little bit more movement, a little bit more texture, I don't know if you can see in the holes, I actually used these. Now I'm sure these came in a set in one of the craft kits, and I can't for the life of me remember which set they came in, but I am sure they did. But they're Midnight Shadow Blue markers, and I just used what's this one? Oh, Blue Bliss, which is 182, and Imperial Blue 184. So I will show you this. I just literally went in on the bottoms. So the bottom part of it, I made it darker, going up to the lighter colour, which was the where are we? Blue Bliss. Blue Bliss. So we just went in those holes. I might actually be able, these might dry by the time I've done this. And here we go. We just went in with the silver at the top. And some of them I didn't, some of them I did, but it just adds to it. It just gives it that little bit more texture, movement. Let's give this a go. Let's give this a go, just so that I can show you how. There we go, you see? So you can just go in. Obviously you would have done that before you used your alcohol markers. And then we will just go over the bottom part in blue, but you can just see it doesn't take long to colour them in. I mean, there isn't really any effort involved in it, and like I say, it's just another way of using your dies without having to draw something, or you know, if you don't feel confident enough. So we'll just put that, we'll just make those a little bit darker down the bottom, and there we have it. So you will need to do 6 of those. So there we go, there's our finished pocket. So it's really that simple, and like I say, using the dies for other purposes. So also, I just will mention in the book that I'm going to put together in a minute to show you, I have made some shaker, it's not a card, but it's a page in there, and I've used, again, it came in that whole set. I actually think these are still on, oh, which site was it? I saw them the other day, and they were really quite, really good price. I'm not sure which website. It may have been Crafty Devils or Crafty Flair. Other shops are available, by the way. But this came in the set, so Mermaid to be Friends. And these are brilliant for shakers. The only thing I will say, they are fiddly. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They really are fiddly. So you need your base, and again, we've done the same. So it's the same principle of colouring, exactly the same. You would colour and ink the same as what I've just done with the pockets. You then cut out a flat from acetate. I will say, and it doesn't matter whether you're cutting on acetate, it doesn't matter what dyes you're using, they don't tend to cut out completely. You do have to go around them with scissors to, you know, get the shape. But I have to say, I didn't use a very thick acetate. This is quite a flimsy acetate, and I do have to say it wasn't too bad. It did cut out really well, and even when I went round, it kind of just came apart, you know, it came off. So you then get this inner die and an outer die as well. Now you'll see why it's a little bit fiddly. What I did was I cut out the middle of the base, and then again just backed the shell and the stars with card and just cut round those. But you only get this edge to put your double-sided tape on, so it is quite fiddly. I don't know if I can show you actually. This is one that I did do, so I can show you, but it is quite fiddly. I don't know if you can, let's have a look and see if you can see that. You see how small that is? And if you actually look how tiny the edges are. So it is a painstaking lot of work, but you know, where are we? There we go. I tell you what, this is going to take some getting used to. I don't know how all your YouTubers and everybody does this, because I actually don't know which way. It's so strange. You think you're going up and you think you're going down, but yes. So there we have the shaker card, and I used in my shaker cards the Mermaid Parade stars from Nuvo. Oh, I just forgot to add, while I'm here, I forgot to add and let you know that I did use on the pockets, I forgot all about this, lucky I remembered, I did use the Nuvo drops, and this one was Blue Lagoon. I'm going to put this on there because I did do that. It's lucky I thought about that. I just put some drops sporadically here and there on the card. I did forget that. And I used, oh, I must tell you, on the next tutorial that I'll show you with the other book, I used, oh, have I got them here? Yes, I did. I will show you how I put them together, but these drops are lovely. Ivory seashell. They were lovely, but I will show you the book on the next tutorial because it is a different way of using the lights where you don't have to make a push button. In fact, they're probably a little bit easier to do because it is quite time consuming when you're making the buttons, but I forgot to put those on. But I did put these on in my pockets that I've done there, and I also used, let's get that off, I also used, if you can see the starfish, oh, this is so lovely. This is the one, I think did I say lemon twist? So that's what I used, lemon twist on here. And again, I just think it gives it that bit more texture and it brings it out a little bit more. It just gives it a little bit, adds a little bit more to it. So yes, that's how they will go on, the glitter drops, but they won't dry as big. I've noticed that as well with the Nuvo drops, is that you put them on and then they dry and they do kind of shrink a tiny bit. So it's worth noting that I actually didn't put enough on and I should have put more on. So it is worth noting they will shrink up a little bit. So I'm going to show you how we put the book together once we've now got all our pages in place, just in case, you know, sometimes I think it's nice because you don't see people putting the books together. You know, sometimes you just see a book and you think, oh, how is it done? So I'm going to show you how I actually put this all together. Okay, so I shall see you in the next part. Right, so now I'm going to show you how we're going to assemble the book. It's really straightforward. Once you've got all your pages and everything set up, I do have to say as well, before I start, these are brilliant. I don't know if any of you have this embossing folder that Tonic did, and I think this came, I'm not sure if it was memory book 2 or 3, but it was the square one, and it's called the Treasured Tom. Now, I hadn't used this at all, and when I was making these books, I found it the other day because I thought, oh, what am I going to do with the spine? You know, I wanted to find something that looked like a book. These work perfectly with the base, and this is, like I said, this one was a tutorial from Louise Sims, and if it's okay, I will link that in the bottom of here so you can see how you put the base book together. But these spines fit on there perfectly, absolutely perfectly. All you would do is emboss, and it's the bigger one because you get the 2 different size spines, and all you do is just chop down on one side. You can see where I've chopped it down, and it works perfectly on those books. I used it for the first book I did, and in fact I've used it for all 3 of the books that I've done because I wanted to make a set in the you know, in this range. Right, so we've got our front cover and our back cover. Now, I'm not going to put those on until the end. We're going to leave those until the end, and we're going to concentrate on the book itself. So, I have used a base. Again, I actually used this was a set I had in my stash from ages ago, but I think this might have come from, where did it come from? It was in town, but I have had it for ages. And again, these sets, they're so cheap to pick up. I think this was £1. And they're really cheap to pick up, and they work perfectly with these books because they're just the right size. So you don't even, if you was to get papers, if you didn't want to spend a load of money, you can pick books up like this for £1 with lots of sheets. This one's got 30 different sheets. So it's worthwhile noting that you don't have to spend a fortune on paper. I know sometimes, you know, we can spend quite, you know, invest quite a bit of money in our dies, especially if you just first starting out. You might be making a new book, you might not want to invest in some of the really expensive papers. It's really good, you know, good way of not having to spend a lot of money. And you know, if you make a mistake and you're using cheaper paper, you're not worried about it. Right, so for this page I have used, what did I use? I've used both of those actually. I've used the inside die, so it's the first round flat, if you can see that die, and I've cut that out, but instead of using the circle dies in here, I actually used the circle dies from the other one because I just thought they gave it a little bit more feature. But that's the beauty of these dies, because you can just interact them together. So we've cut out a base circle using that same set. So we've used this, so it's the second outer circle to just cut this, and again I've inked around the edges. So we're just going to go ahead and stick that on. Actually thinking of it, I could have actually stuck these on beforehand, but hey ho, we can sit and have a chat. I don't know what you're all doing today. It's, what's the date? It must be, I mean, we're Saturday, it's September now, and I've heard that we are going to get a little bit of a heat wave down here. I mean, I'm in Kent, and I think next week we're supposed to be seeing highs of 27, which is really about time, because we've not had the best of summers, have we? We certainly haven't in Kent. We've had this nice warm weather, but the sunshine seems to have taken its hat off and disappeared this year. I've had quite a busy actually couple of weeks, which is why I really haven't had time to get the tutorials done, so I am a little bit late, and I do apologise to anyone that, because I wanted to get this out a lot sooner, but my dad was sick. So anyways, we're going to stick that down, so that's going to go down on there. Now I'm not going to lift these. You could, if you didn't want to do the light up pages, you could lift these because you would have space, but just work out how much space you've got in between each section, because you want your book, you know, you don't want your book ending up here. You want your book to be a nice flat shape. It doesn't look extremely pretty, but I think with colouring the double-sided foam tape, that really does help. And you can actually use, I'm going to use a little bit, I think, of double-sided tape plus glue for this, because we're gluing onto, it's like a shiny, I don't know where I got this actually, but it's like a shiny, you can burnish it actually. That's another tip. With sort of things like Miri card, you can burnish them so that they do stick better. So do bear that in mind when you're using shiny card. I know, because I've done this before, where I've used shiny card and it's not stuck. It's stuck, but it comes off much easier. And you don't want, you know, you don't want to do all this work and then find that, you know, your pages are coming out, especially if you're doing this for a gift. I mean, these would make fantastic gifts, you know, for, I don't know, Christmas, birthdays. You know, you can personalise these as well. Put names in, make a story out of them. You know, when you've got your pockets, I will show you later what I've done, but you could personalise those pockets. So we're just going to place that on here like so. Oh, I'm just can't quite see. And this is obviously one that I did earlier. So you've got, I don't know if you can see that. You've got, I actually used, this was really stuff as well I had in my stash because I really wanted to start using it. I don't know if you're anything like me, but my stash seems to be getting bigger sometimes than all the new stuff I've got. And yeah, I really wanted to start using up the stash. So we're now going to pop this onto our base, and I'm going to have a little, just make sure, I mean it will come off, it shouldn't come off too much. You remember, you don't want an overhang on it, and I just need to straighten that up, don't I? Oh, the concentration. The concentration. So this is our first page, and we're going to pop this page. I'm going to pop that out. I'm going to pop this page. You do have a line here, so you want to get it on the line. We're going to pop this page into our book, and that is going to be your first, well, I would say it's very interactive. And always use glue. Always use glue. Don't, I mean, you can use double-sided tape, but I would say, especially if you're, you know, you want to really make sure you're getting everything straight, use wet glue. I think, I mean, obviously this is the first online tutorial I've done, so it's really different from when you can, you know, when you're crafting. When you're crafting, you know, you can sort of get your head everywhere, and then I think things end up on my lap. That's normally how I craft. Right, first pocket. So this is a pocket, so we're not going to be putting glue on the top. We're only going to be putting the glue on the outer edges, just on the outer edges. And we're going to pop that just on here. There is a little ridge actually in this that you can see to kind of line it up. There we go. There we go. Oh, I think maybe I'll just put it, maybe I haven't put enough, I'll just put a bit more there. See, that's the beauty of using wet glue. That is the beauty. Right, so we've got another pocket here. And again, you know, if you do all these, I like to do everything. I mean, some people are different. Some people like to, you know, put the pages in as they go. But I just think in this instance, you really do need to make sure you're not, especially when you're using the light up pages where they take up quite a bit of space with regards to the thickness. You really do need to be careful about putting them in first, because you might think, oh, that's a bit too thick. So I would definitely say, if you're going to do light up ones, do it this way, because you don't want to put them in your book and then find out, oh, it's a bit too thick, and then you know, might do up a page and it may not be, you know, they may not fit in, and then it's going to make your book look so thick. So again, we've got this is another one I did, and there you can see I've used the ships in that set as well, and I don't know if you can see, but there, yes, there we go. Now I think, going against what I just said, totally going against what I've just said about not putting glue on. In this instance I am, because it's a big thick page, but I'm quite confident enough that I think I can get it in straight, she says. She says, and we will wait with bated breath to see if I can get this on straight, because wouldn't it be funny if I didn't get it on straight and then I've got to show you a wonky book. A wonky whaley book. Right. We're going to go in with the glue. In fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. what we'll do is we'll put a little bit of glue over it, and then it'll give us a little bit of sliding space. But yeah, we want these, you know, in all seriousness, we do want these stuck in well, just to make sure as well that the mechanisms are going to work, because it does need to be flat. Get my head in the way. I'm going to have to just put my head down. Oh, perfect. There we go. Whoops. Oh, we seem to have a page missing. Now what went in there? Ah, I do think that was the other one, which I've got to put down. So we'll go back to that one, because again, I'm not sure what I've done there. Right, with the middle pages here, I've actually, because they come up a bit taller, you'll see when you make the base, when you make Louise Sim's base, you'll see that in the middle pages you do have a little ridge. So I've actually cut a plain one to put on first, and you'll see why in a minute. Now the plain one you could make as a pocket. You really could. Oh, sorry, you can't see what I'm doing. You could make as a pocket, but because we've got quite a bit of thickness to the book at the moment, you know, as it is, we're not going to do that, because, you know, once you start putting more things in there, then, you know, you're just basically not going to be able to fit that in there, not with all the other bits that we've got to put in there as well. So we're going to put this completely flat. And like I say, you'll see why in a minute, because it's that little bit longer, and it's just going to make it for a better finish. Now you see there was a ridge down here, which was actually where the book folded. So instead of putting this right up to, now we can put that down, can you see, and cover up the ridge. Let me see if I can just show you. Can I show you? Can you see that ridge? I don't know, it's very difficult to see. There's a ridge just here. So we've stuck this on, and we're now going to put the second one over it, so it's covering up that ridge. And like I say, you don't have to do that. You will get a bigger top, you will get, you know, a bigger top on it, but I just think it makes a much better finish doing it that way. So we're going to go lower, still straightening it up with the first one you put down, and we're going to just push that down and make sure it's really stuck down. I mean, like I say, when you're doing your books, you're going to take your time with them, especially when you're first doing them. You're just going to take your time. So we're going to do it exactly the same. Let me just show you so you can see what I mean. Where are we? There we go. That's it. So you can just see you've got it just makes for a neater finish, and then you're covering up that line underneath. But you only have to do that for one of them, because when, oh, we didn't know what we're putting on there yet, did we? Because like I say, when you set it up, you'll see Louise actually does give you a few tutorials on that same video. She gives you a few different tutorials of how to put books together, to put them in different ways, but the principle is the same. I think she actually used one of the other Keepsake sets. I've got to stop saying I realise I'm actually doing that. She uses one of the other Keepsakers, because there's 3 different books in that Keepsaker set, but it works with all of them. It doesn't matter what set you use, it works with all of them. So we'll just carry on, like I say, making these pockets again, exactly the same as you've done on the other side. Line it up with the one that's already there. Let's move that out of the way, that'd be easier. Line it up with the one that's already there, and just make sure that it's really stuck down, and you will make sure that yours is. I don't know what the weather's like where you are, but it's not very nice here today. It's nice and warm, but oh my gosh, it's not very nice. It looks ominous. It looks like it's going to rain. I suppose that's a perfect day for crafting, really. Right, so next page. Again, we're going to use our tape. Always keep looking and make sure that you're sticking them the right way as well, because I have done that before. Oh, I have definitely made mistakes in the past, but it's the only way you learn, you know, is by making mistakes. And you know, earlier on I made a mistake and actually it turned out that it was a better way of doing it. So right, again, same principle. I think what I might do actually, because you're not going to want to sit here and watch me stick all these in the book, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on sticking the rest of these into the book. Then I'm going to come back and show you how we put the front and the back together. Because remember, most important thing is don't put your back and your front on first. You know, that really is important. The back and the front are the last things you do, especially if you're putting ribbons on like I am. The back and the front are the last, because you'll see, I mean, I'm sure I don't need to teach you to suck eggs. I mean, you know, if you're using ribbons, you've got to put the ribbons underneath. Right, we'll put one more in, and then what I'll do, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it this way, because this is a much easier way of doing it, because you can really line these up quite nicely. So keep your book up, best way of doing it. Nice and lined up. Perfect. You can just see, you can see the book lighting up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to finish doing this, because I think you get the principle of doing it. And like I said, I'm not teaching you how to suck eggs. I'm just thinking, if sometimes we're all at different craft levels, aren't we? Everybody's at different craft levels, and there could be some people that haven't started. So this is just sort of tips. So for people as well that, you know, are first starting out and wondering how you're sticking these in, because it is, if you don't, especially with these, with, like I keep saying, I know I keep repeating myself, but with the thick double-sided tape, it's, you know, you can get it wrong if you don't know what you're doing. So let me carry on sticking these back in, and then we're going to come back, and then we're going to look at putting the front and the back of the book on. So I will come back in a minute. Right, so we're going to do the final bit of the book, which is the front cover and the back cover, and just how I've put the ribbons together. Now, I find it easier doing it like this when you're using single ribbons. So you obviously need one set for the front and one set for the back. I have just, this is again from my stash, but I have just used, I don't actually know, should you have a look? Measure them. I think these were, again, they're centimetre width ribbons, and what I've done is I've used double-sided tape and I've stuck them down. So can you see, I've just stuck them down on double-sided tape and just backed them. And I've done another set here again, which is a bit smaller, with 4 of them on. How many have we got on that one? 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 on there and 4 on there. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to put the book together. So with our 5 ribbon, now you've stuck them down, you can, there you go, you can just see how they've been stuck down at the back there. We're just going to have a look actually. In fact, let me pop that down there. Just going to have a look and see, because we want our ribbons so that we can tie them together. So it's always important to remember where you're positioning your ribbons. So try and get them down to the front, but not too far, so that, you know, they're going to fall out. So we're going to take some glue, and I'm going to just pop the glue just there. Because remember, we haven't got anything on the underside of the underside of the ribbon. So we're going to take carefully, she says, in fact, do you know what, I think it's probably easy to do it on here. we're going to just take, ooh, carefully pull the ribbon off. Maybe I'll do it this way. So let's pop them on there like that. And let's hope we can get the ribbon off this way. Maybe that's an easy way of doing it. Make sure that you centre them so they're centred as well. We'll do it this way. This is better. There we go. So now that's our first set. Now to make it a bit thicker and heavier, we're going to do the same, but using the top set that I've put together. I'm going to put some more glue on as well. So it's making it nice and secure there. So we're going to take our smaller set. I'm going to pop that on and I'm going to try and position it. Now this could be quite tricky actually taking this off, but I'm going to try and position it so that it's kind of just in the middle. So you've got the, there we go, just like that. So we just position it like that. So we've just got a little bit of edge on this side and this side. It was just really actually to give it more, I just realised I've got this one on the wrong way around. Oh, what can we do? Can we do this? Are we going to be able to? Oh, how are we going to do it? No. Do you know what? I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it, but what can I? Should we try? Should we try? Because otherwise, if you're anything like me, that is going to absolutely drive me mad. I'm really terrible. I'm finicky for things like that. If it's not put in the right place, I just won't be happy with it. So that's better. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to pop that down there like that. I'm going to put some more glue on it. Otherwise that would just... See, do you know what I have to say as well? With crafting, I like to say, I don't know if you're anything like me, but sometimes it does take me ages to put a project together because I'm just so finicky like that. And it's just that odd thing. It would just drive me mad, especially as we've just spent all that time on this book. So there we go. That's how we've positioned. I put my teeth in. That's how we've positioned the ribbons on the front. So I'm just going to put some double-sided tape on the front because I really do, you know, we want that secure because that's the thing that you're going to be touching, moving about. You really want that secure. So we just put some double-sided tape on the front and we're going to secure it both with tape and glue together, and then we will move on to the back. Just take that tape off. A little tricky one there. Don't want to come off. And again, I'm going to pop some glue just around the edges to really make sure that that is secure. I tell you what, absolutely, I only got some of this recently because before the glue, this one, in this tub, because I was using the other one, I actually still have a bottle. I don't know if the orange one, but these are just brilliant, aren't they? Because they've got that small nib on them. And this has actually lasted me. I have completed 3 of these books with that one glue. Right, so now, put that down, make sure those are flat. Now we're going to position this, and it's really, I'm going to just move this over here, and you might see my head, and I apologise, but I just want to make sure I'm getting this on there correctly, because it's really important. This is the page that you're going to be opening, closing, so it's really important, like I said, that this one is stuck down properly. Now I'm just thinking I may pop just a little bit of glue just underneath to just make sure that that is secure, because like I say, that is your opening. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't do anything with your opening. I would leave it to dry. I really would. If you can be patient enough to wait, I would leave it. Once you've set this up, I really would leave it to dry for a few hours before you start tying it or doing anything with it, otherwise you're just going to weaken it. So again, it's a little bit like the process of the lights. You know, I normally make my mini lights up the night before because they're so easy to make, and then I've got them already set up, you know, with the buttons together, ready to go. So I'm just going to keep a little bit of pressure on there just until that glue sets in. And then, like I say, I would leave this for a good few hours just for it to set in, because that is important, that that is really stuck down well. Now, I'm going to turn the book over and we're going to do the back. Now, you can decorate the back, but I decided not to. I decided to leave it plain because, and I did that on the other book, because you use the back a lot, so you don't, obviously, you know, you want it to be flat, so you don't want heavy things put on there for sure. So I've gone for a plain card at the back. Right, so now we're going to do exactly the same to the, just measure that out, to the back, sorry, I'll get my words out, as we have done to the front. So I never measure anything as well, because, you know, you can always cut the ribbons down, and don't forget as well, you have to really burnish them. Let's pop that, make sure it goes central with a lighter, because you're going to be using these a lot. So when you actually shape them at the end, when you come to shape them at the end and you cut them, you can just burnish them with a lighter just to make sure they don't fray. Right, so let's see if we can get the tape off of this. Come on. Now, in hindsight, another is make sure you do leave enough edging on the sides. That's clearly very important. Make sure you leave enough edging on the sides, because I haven't quite left. I should have left a little bit more edging just so that they stick, so that you can pull the tape off. This is what I'm getting at. And again, the same process, and it's going to be a little bit difficult. We just centre that over the two. Centre that over the two. Now I'm going to do what I didn't do in the first one, and I'm actually going to pop this up and pop glue underneath here, because I didn't do that in the first one. Oh, we're running out. You don't want it too far up the edge, and again, lots of glue. Oh, we really are running out. I think I've got another one actually, yes. So we'll now come to the back. I'm just getting another glue. Right, so we're going to just put some tape on again. Make sure the back and the front are secure. And like I say, I will show you in the next one how to make these books. If you don't like colouring, if you know, colouring is not your thing, you know, I'm going to show you how to make a book. In fact, I love the next book that I'm going to show you, because it's actually was a bit of a mistake. Well, not a mistake, but I had loads of die cuts left over from the first two books that I had made, this one and the previous fairy one, and there we go, that's better. I had, yes, lots of die cuts left over, and I thought, oh, why don't I just do a book with no colouring, nothing, just using die cuts and letting the die cuts do the work, because these, you know, they are so intricate. Sometimes the simplest things are better, I find. I feel like I'm waffling now. Right, let's pop these on. Let's pop this last one on here. And again, really make sure it's stuck down. I'm going to turn it this way. So again, making sure that you've got plenty of glue on the ribbon. And I would leave that, I really would leave that overnight. So let's just flatten that down. Now, our last thing is the spine. Now, again, you could have put the spine on before. I like to put the spine on at the end. Sometimes it is better to put it on at the beginning. Now, I'm going to show you how good this spine is. Oh, just make sure these are all stuck down. I'm going to show you how, look at that. It just fits perfectly, doesn't it? It just fits absolutely perfectly. So, let's get the spine on. And in your book, again, and I'm going to keep stressing, you'll take your time with this and you will do this a lot slower than what I am to make sure that you're getting everything stuck down. You know, really give it some time. I'm going to pop this on just here and we're going to slide it on. I'm going to do that. So we've just turned it over, also making sure that all the other ribbons and the pages are all stuck down, but you know, you can see how it's really come together, you know, and it is nice. It's lovely when it all comes together at the end, you know, when you've done all that hard work, you know, depending on how fast you work, when you've done all that hard work and then you put everything together at the end, you're just, it's that, I don't know, it's that satisfaction of, oh, all come together. So again, you really make sure that it's stuck down, you know, give it a good bit of time. You know, you can keep it upside down, maybe wedge something in between it, keep it upside down and just keep it flat for the time. In fact, I'll just put that over there. Have we got anything? Will that stand up? Yes, perfect. And I'm just going to show you the final pieces of the final inserts. Now, this is where I was saying that with the inserts, you could personalize them. I've just chose to go with the whole theme of with the stamp set, but you could really personalize them. You know, you could make a story out of these, which was what I was, you know, was going to do that. But again, it's how much time you've got to spend on a project. But my idea, and I'm sure I will do at some point, is you can use your inserts for your pockets and have little tiny stories. You know, you can print them out, maybe little poems. Again, personalising them. Now, I will say with these, after I had done these, I actually thought, that it works fine with these, because when you put these on the front, you get a plain back. Now, as I said, with this shell die, which comes in the, which one does that come in? Is that the marine one? No, the Oceana. That's the only one it works with, where it goes level to level back. But on these, it doesn't work. It doesn't work at the back. So I have had to literally kind of colour those in, but I will disguise that at some point. I will put something else, even if I have to put another circle on the back. But it was just to kind of, it was after I had done them and stuck them all down, that when I went to line them up, I thought, oh, they don't match at the back. So these ones do, and like I say, you can just cut that and it will match the back, so it covers them completely up. But just be aware that it doesn't do it with these. It's just slightly offset. Otherwise I would have put them at the back. So stick to these if you're using them for inserts and you want them to be covered at the back. So let's have a look. I am going to leave that to dry, but if we have a look now, we've got a lovely book. And the fantastic thing is, I don't know if you can see that, is when you're, you know, you open up your book, especially with the shaker, you get all the, just see all the little bits coming in, and then you've got your inserts, which you can just pop in there, and then we've got our light up pages. I will have to show you, I think you can see that on camera. And there we go, you know, again, another one, you can hear the shakes, you can just see just all the all the pages, and it does, you know, it really, you know, it works. Let's pop another one in there. You know, it does, it looks really good, and they're so fun. They're just fun. You know, the sad thing is, like I say, you can't replace the batteries. So once the batteries run out, unfortunately, you know, that's the end of the light up. But as even as a standalone book without the lights, they're still really pretty. Oh, I've got a little bit of a, I think it's because I'm moving the book over. Let's put it that way. That's better, so you can see that. And there we go. And you know, Tonic have got, if you look at this as well, it's really cool actually. You've got the shaker. Yes, if you look, Tonic have got the stamp club as well, and they've got lots of different stamp sets that you can use that will go with these books. So my next tutorial is going to be showing you how to put one of these together, just literally with white card and a couple of Nouveau crystal drops, and it also to show you how you can use the lights in a different way in another book. But again, I will repeat, if you're not keen on stamping or colouring, then the next book I do will definitely be for you, because it will be a lot quicker to make. And if you know, are first starting out using Tonic products, I would say without a doubt these are the best books. The Keepsake books are the best ones for you to start with, because they're smaller. You can use, you don't have to use a whole load of paper. I mean, this is a pack of, we all know where it's from, the cheap shop where everything is £1, and there's 30 sheets in here, and I think I've managed to do 2 books, give or take 2 books with 30 sheets. So if you're new at memory book making and you don't know where to start, these I really would say are your best bet. And if you don't want to spend all that money on getting 300 GSM card, honestly, this is 200 GSM, and if you make a mistake, you know, it doesn't matter, you can throw it away and you're not worried that you've spent a lot of money on, you know, expensive cards. So I'm going to show you, that's going to be my next tutorial, but I do hope you've enjoyed watching, and this was my first tutorial, so I don't know if I've done very well, if I haven't. So, you know, if you want to make a comment and it's constructive criticism, then please by all means do, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit, you know, if you want to, hit subscribe. There will be more tutorials coming. I'm not a professional, so we will have so much fun along the way, and I will see you in the next tutorial. Thank you so much. Bye.